Hello, Finneas. Thanks for being here with us on Radio Disney Brazil. I'm Fernando. How are you doing?
Great, nice to meet you, Fernando. How you doing
Uh,
today?
yeah, great. Dude, this has been a huge year for you. You won your second Academy Award, collaborated with Billy on Hit Me Hard and Soft, right? And released your solo album. A lot going on.
It's been a busy year.
Yeah. Well, did the process of creating Hit Me Hard and Soft so recently impact your approach for crying out loud, or was it other way around?
I think so. I think the thing that it made me want to do was be collaborative. I think, working with Billy made the idea of then making my solo album completely alone seem unappealing. I was like, I think I'll be lonely and I'll be kind of bored and I'll have the most fun if I'm in a room with friends of mine. And so that was part of what inspired me to give my buddies a call and ask if they wanted to make this album with me. And so I called a couple of my really close producer songwriter friends and asked if they wanted to be involved, and it was so much fun. It was like so much fun. Um, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
And you think that you're gonna have the same amount of fun in your tour next year?
I hope so. I mean, what a hack to get to bring my close friends. Yeah, really fun.
Okay. Tell me, when you're composing, what kind of music or artists do you listen to for inspiration? Are you the type of composer who dives deep into research? I don't know, bring in the classic tracks or it's like other genres to create something fresh?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I mean, I listen to a really eclectic body of music. Sometimes I'm listening to classical music, and sometimes I'm listening to hip hop, and sometimes I'm listening to Simon and Garfunkel, and I try not to be careful with it. I try to just listen to what I feel like listening to. Sometimes maybe if I'm making a song and I'm like, oh, you know, like I want this to sound like it's from the 70s. I'll go back and listen to some music from the 70s to kind of pull like, well, what were the textures like? How did the bass sound in the 70s? How did the drums sound in the 70s? But typically like my relationship with music is just sort of like I love listening to music and I'm listening to it all the time, and I don't it's not like one to one. It has not very little to do with like what I'm making.
I know that you pay attention to tiny details when you're composing. I've watched some videos of you and like Billy talking about how your process is. But how long did it take to bring your solo album to life from the first spark of an idea to the final recording?
It was pretty fast. I mean, the first couple weeks of it were jamming with friends of mine. It's like me and a couple other producer writers, and we would all stand in a room with instruments. I'd either just sing or I'd play some guitar, and I'd have piano players and bassists and drummers all in the same room, and we'd jam, and we'd usually make like a song a day, sometimes two. And there's a bunch of those songs that didn't make the record, and then there's a bunch of songs that did. And once those were all recorded, I'd go home and I'd redo the vocals because I was singing sort of live one take. And sometimes my voice would, maybe I'd rewrite a lyric or something like that, and then I'd do all the harmonies. But the first sessions we did were in March of this past year, and then the whole album was finished on July 3rd. So it was pretty fast.
And all of the songs you have composed are into this album right now, or there's some other songs that are just like keeping for the next one?
There were some that didn't make the cut. I don't know if they'll come out next time, but yeah, I wanted to make a short album. I'm in a period of my life where I really love a 10-song album. Billy and I made a 10-song album, and this one was 10, and I feel like that's a great number.
I've watched a video of you saying that this sentence, like for crying out loud, it was something that you heard a lot from your mom. Tell me about that. Tell me about that a little bit.
I mean, I was probably just, doing stuff that was annoying. I was probably making a mess and spilling my apple juice and drawing on the walls or whatever kids do. So I think, trying not to swear, I should say, oh, for crying out loud, which I thought was a kind of a fun title for the album.
Okay, I know that you also pay attention to these details when you are like giving titles to your songs. It was a difficult thing for you, a difficult task for this solo album to pick the right titles for each song.
Yeah, I care a lot about titles. I sometimes think people don't understand how important a song title is. Like I'll skip over certain songs because their titles are uninteresting. So I try to make sure that all the titles of my songs make you want to listen to them.
Okay, perfect. Well, our last question is: you're bound to start, for crying out loud, to tour next year. So, what are your expectations for the concerts? And of course, that we Brazilians want to know if we're gonna see you anytime soon.
I would love to come to Brazil. We haven't locked in a date for it yet, but man, I love being in Brazil. So I hope I get to come. I'm really excited. I'm bringing all my friends who I made the record with. We're gonna play everything live, so I think it'll sound really good and feel really good. I'm really excited about the show.
But you're planning to put on a show. I mean, to bring all of your fellas to.
Yeah, we're bringing in the pretty much everybody that played on the album with me, which will be really fun.
Wow, this is so great. Well, we really loved your song here in Brazil, so congratulations, and well, we hope to see you soon here in Brazil on Radio Disney Brazil. I hope to interview you in person, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to see you today, Fernando. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, bye bye, Finneas. Thanks a lot.